Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Jess Hilarious, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. LoRosa is here as well. And we got a special guest in the building.
Yes, we do.
Her album is out today, ladies and gentlemen. Keke Palmer, welcome.
Hey. So wait, is this live?
It's Friday.
Oh, it's Friday. Okay, yeah. So yeah, it's out.
Album's out right now. How are you feeling? How's everything?
I'm good. It's good to see you. You know, I know Jess. I'm good to see you again.
Yes,
and
girl,
Loren,
good to
congrats.
see you.
Like I was
Thank
telling
you.
you on everything you're doing. It's good to be back. I'm sad Charlamagne ain't here. My
Yeah,
boy.
He's in France.
Okay, well,
He's in
hey,
France.
he's in a better place.
Yeah.
Keke, you gotta do it for us. Is that?
You know it's your girl.
I look crazy.
You are everywhere all the time.
Oh my
man.
gosh.
What
Acting a
made
fool.
you want to drop an album that is more personal, right? Because even your bodies of work before this, right? They weren't as personal as this.
Yeah.
Like, this seems like it's a different type of Keke this time.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think the life changes.
Mhm.
It changed me. My experiences after having my son, turning 30, and
Yeah.
even all the public stuff. So I think it just made the music more personal. Because I was personal in those other projects,
Yeah.
but I wasn't the me that I am today. So when you get more personal with you, it always impacts your art.
Do you feel like people try to sometimes keep you in that box of being a childhood actor and entertainer and not say, look, I'm 30. I got
grown,
kids.
she
Like,
grown.
'cause you still look at Keke as that
I
young
know.
child actor.
Yes.
Yeah, even with Leo, people still do. I'm not mad at it. I love it. I mean, I feel like I'm everybody's little cousin. So, I mean,
right.
you know, I do think people think of it like that, but it ain't a bad thing.
Yeah.
You know.
When was the turning point for you of like, okay, like you felt the change of like, this is mother Keke Palmer versus it's your girl Keke Palmer?
From the moment that I met my son, literally on my stomach, right after I had him, I was just like, son, I'm so glad to meet you. And everything changed. I'm sure you know as a mom, it sounds crazy, but the blink of an eye, all the things that you used to think about, worry about, what bothered you, as long as that baby is good, everything else is great.
You don't care about nothing.
You don't care about nothing else. Yeah. The stakes become way less in your world and way higher for them.
Now break down this album a little bit. This album, we could tell that you got your director hat on because this is shot like a movie, right?
Yes.
There's an intro, there's a middle, and there's an outro. And you, if for people that haven't heard it yet, you break it down kind of like the problem.
Yep.
I'm wilding out, and then we're gonna make it work. So break it down a little bit.
Yeah, so I think it's definitely like kind of what you said. The beginning is like, you know, I wonder how I got here. We start out with off script.
Usher got you here. That's how you got here. Usher got you here.
She did some things.
Usher got you here, but go ahead.
So we go from off script to, and it kind of is like a sketch show because it's just Keke, the show. When you enter, that's the device that kind of takes us through the vignettes of the music video. And pretty much we get into that middle and it's kind of like, this is how it happened. This was the love story. And then this is how things went left. And now we end on Misunderstood, where it's kind of like it's still open-ended of how do you now make sense of it all, and being okay with not actually having made sense of it, but know you're moving forward, especially the best possible way for my son.
Now we're joking about it, but was Usher the problem, or was it just the thing that made everything burst?
It was just the public, you know, thing that was like an inciting incident. But you know, relationships have problems. You know what I mean? Usher is, besides what you think because of the Boondocks episode, he's not the person. It's just life. You know, and after having a kid and just whatever else, growing, needing to mature. But the Usher moment just made it like a public thing.
Because of y'all, when I take my wife to see Usher, and he comes with the cherries, I'm grabbing the cherries.
And be like, put them in
Put
my
him in my mouth. Like,
Don't
put him in my
sir.
mouth. We here together.
Y'all are silly.
That's what we doing. So,
But sorry.
No, go ahead.
Okay, but so you broke it down. Obviously, it wasn't just the Usher because we've been listening to the music, and
I'm
you
so glad you
get
guys are listening.
like to it. You know what I mean? Like we, Loren, you know the tracks. The one where it's a lot of
The one
them.
she was-
It's
I wanna
one
know.
particular one.
the Stedman one, the one she
I
wanted
want to know.
Well, I think they're talking about what was the first off script?
Off script.
Off
yes.
Yeah.
script,
So when
that's
you
the one.
start with off script, which I thought was an ironic play on your life because we've seen you so scripted and so what that we think so well put
Oh, yeah,
together.
you're right. No,
But this was the first time where we're like, wait, what's happening with Keke
Right,
Palmer's life? What's
right.
going on right now, right? So in that you talk about, first of all, you say that it wasn't even about fighting for money. You guys were fighting to figure out how it would work with your child, you and your ex, or
Yeah.
not ex.
Yeah, no.
Your ex.
Yeah.
And then you also talk about you're basically you're trying to show him that you love him, and you're like, I even let you get me pregnant. And when you said that, I'm like, wow. So before we found out about all the Usher things and all that stuff that happened, I found out, but before that happened, were there like insecurities in the relationship from his part, and you felt like being, bringing a kid into the world would change things, or like what was that line about?
Yeah, I mean, I think I can't speak for him, but obviously there was discomfort. Anytime you're dating somebody in the public eye and you're not a person of the public eye, it just brings a dynamic that really you can't explain unless you've experienced it, or if that person is also in the public eye. And then when I said the thing about my son, it's like, you do think when you and someone come together and decide to have a child, and y'all have made that decision, and that that was, my son was brought in purposefully, that, hey, we're on the same page. But it doesn't mean that. And I think even more so after you have a kid, you start to see things that maybe you didn't see the way you saw them before.
Yeah.
Right.
It almost opens up whatever insecurities you have, whatever insecurities they have, because you go from being a 1 to a 2 and now a 3. And so, yeah, I think, having a child, it really will test the relationship and show you who you have to be to show up for that child.
You felt like you had to prove yourself in a relationship, just like, because you are a star, right? You are in the public eye. And sometimes for somebody that doesn't understand that, it feels like you're kind of leaving them. So did you feel like you had to prove even more that, no, I do love you. No, I am here for this situation. Did you feel like you had to prove that even more?
I think there are elements of that, even if you don't go in thinking that that's what you're doing. I think that there could have been. I feel like I grew so much in terms of learning better boundaries with myself, because honestly, I never would really even be public with a relationship.
Yeah.
But this was a different love, right? This is the love that brought Leo, my son, into my life. So it was a different level. So I was pushing the envelope with my personal and professional boundaries. And I don't want to say I regret it, because it is what it is, and it opened up a new phase of my life of how I want to be less fragmented and be more integrated in there. But at the end of the day, it's like, I'm never going to not be Keke Palmer.
Yeah.
I can't turn it off. It's not a costume that I can remove. So it's going to always kind of be a thing that whatever relationships I have are going to have to understand or work around.
You got that line in there that they mentioned that you thought he was going to be your stepman.
Okay?
Right.
Because,
When my dad heard that line, my dad said, it was a good role. I mean, all he had to do was be Stedman. That was it. Stedman's chilling in my mind.
Chilling.
That's
Chilling,
right. Laid back. He letting the woman.
Letting Oprah be Oprah.
Yeah, it is what it is.
So yeah.
Did
Who's
he,
on Stedman?
when he heard the line, was there a conversation with you and him when he heard the line? Because Stedman doesn't.
He never said nothing about the Stedman line, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, he never said nothing about that. Yeah. I don't know what he thinks about the Stedman.
Do he know Stedman?
Right, exactly.
Right, don't even know, man.
Did you let him hear the album?
I did.
And what was his
That's what I want to know. What was his
he was happy
reaction?
for me. He was like, I'm glad you're transmuting. I mean, he didn't use those words, transmuting, but he was like, I'm glad that you're telling your story and you're allowing yourself to be more open in your music in a way that you weren't before. And I don't know that I would even know this part of myself without this experience having not happened.
Right.
Even though it wasn't on script.
Right.
Sometimes going off script is better for the movie. So, hey, I'm going to ride the wave.
Yeah. So are y'all cordial or are y'all?
Yes.
Like,
I mean,
what is the relationship like now?
We're in a greater place. Co-parenting, putting our son first, and that's what it's about. And so I'm very grateful. I mean, at the minute when it all went down, I was not sure how we were going to move forward.
Yeah.
And I really do in the album take everybody through that journey of what am I going to do now?
Yeah.
But now, again, the great thing I've learned, my mom has always said, just keep living. Sometimes people are ready to step up in the ways they need to. And so I'm happy for my son.
And you are completely transparent in this album. Like, girl, I was triggered because with my first baby father, it was so much going on there. And with that family, did Darius' family say anything about, did he put them on? Because the album is out today. Are they listening right now at the house?
Because you mentioned them on the album.
You mentioned them people.
I don't know I would love to know what they thought of the confessions, because we definitely went in there. But, the family's feud. Families, it's a thing. Anytime that families are joining. But, I be praying on it and that everything goes good. And as long as you respect me, I'll respect you. And that's it.
Yeah.
Now, is this that Mary J. Blige album? They always say, like, there's the Mary album, there's the Keisha Cole album, there's certain albums that Breakups push this project for writers and for yourself. Like, this is I want y'all to hear me now. Is this album for you?
I think so for
I
sure.
think it is.
And I would have never been able to do it without Taylor Parks. I think she's there she is right there.
Talented.
Because we've been best friends since I was 9 years old. And I was thinking when I was approaching, because my manager was like, okay, so what's the next album? I just dropped Big Boss, which was also a visual album. And he was like, so what's the next project? And I knew that I had something to say, but I was afraid of what that would be. And so when I decided to actually sit down and start working on the project, I was like, Taylor needs to executive produce this whole thing because she's the only person I'm willing to really share my feelings with to get to what I want to get to as an artist. You know, you have to grow and evolve as a person for your music or for anything that you do to be true. And I didn't want to step into the studio and do anything that wasn't going to be true to where I am today. I did not want to be on the surface with it. To me, that would have just killed me.
But there's something you had to take out that was a little too far. We're going to bring you up in a second, Taylor. I want to know if there's something that a little too far, you'd be like, nah, you're not putting that in there. Or, nah, this is going a little too far. And nah, I ain't talking about his mama like that. Like, was there something like that?
I mean, all of it was probably something I would have been thinking, oh, no. But the way that it came together in the studio and the love and the safe space that it was, I really was like, okay, Taylor, let's go. You know, when she would say with me, we had conversations and she was like, we need to say that. And I'm like, no. And she's like, we need to say that. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to hold your hand the whole way through it and let's say that. I mean, especially in off script. I mean, you let me get me pregnant. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Remember when I was like, Taylor, no.
Can we bring Taylor up to the mic?
That was
bring her up,
crazy.
yeah.
We got to take your seat. Pull up Taylor's mic.
Oh my
That's why I think
God.
it's really important. Like, would you agree that it's important that you have to have,
Taylor, mic on.
like some type of like relationship with your writer, because this person,
Yes.
this is your real life. This ain't no game. Like,
Yes.
this it's information that can't be told the wrong way. So you have to have a person to really, really nail your narrative.
That's right. And I mean, there's a reason why
everything.
Jack Antonoff and Taylor Swift don't separate apart. Because at the end of the day, you need that person that, just what you said, can help tell your story within the tone of you. And these are such big themes of heartbreak. What people not say at the top of the album, you just another baby mama. Anybody that it didn't work out with, those are the thoughts, those are the things, those are the feelings. But one thing that's true about Keke is that there's also so much joy and humor. I'm the type of person that's gonna crack a joke in the middle of a crying session. And so that's what I love about the music that we were making. Taylor knows that about me. And so there's humor to it. There's levity to when I'm saying some of these things. Where it's like, did she really just, now we only arguing about my way. My way, wait a minute. Where we have that moment where you feel like you hear, yes, the pain, yes, the grief, yes, the anger, but also the joy.
Yeah.
Now, Taylor, I want to tell you, before you walked in, there was like, her writer's coming. She picked up the paper and said, Taylor, she writes for Chris Brown. Oh my gosh, I know who Taylor is. She knows everything Chris Brown. Anything Chris Brown you ask her, she will
I know that's right.
Come on,
Girl,
now.
and I just want to say, Anyway is one of my favorite songs.
Wow.
And yes, even though it's back in her. But listen,
on.
I love it. It's a different vibe. It's a whole, you're very, very talented. You work with a lot of great minds. Yeah, Mariah Carey.
Ariana Grande, all those hits.
What? Ariana Grande, all of that.
Thank you.
Now,
So
what-
it's been a good time.
Good to meet you,
doing
yeah.
this with the bestie, I was like, oh, this
Now,
is gonna be a new
What's the
thing.
difference with working with her than working with all those other people?
I think like my brand specifically, like as just a writer, is always like this. Everything that I want to give to you as a creative is like they're not gonna get this in the interview, and like that is the moment that they tune in to the album. And I've been able to do that with so many other people, but with doing it with you, somebody who has been one of my oldest friends, it was like, okay, we're about to talk about something that was one of the, I don't know, the craziest time periods in your life, and it's gonna be really hard, and it's not easy for artists to open up to anybody. Like, it's not easy to say, now, okay, we got an hour, boom, 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 spill your guts. Like, that's really hard to do.
Right.
And also when you're still processing it, and when we were able to do that, like throughout this
I will
whole
never
thing.
forget the conversation we had the first day. First of all, we did off script and Misunderstood in the same day. And Taylor was like, so, what's going on? And I said, well, you tell me what's going on. She's like, no, you tell me what's going on, because we need to talk about it. Where are you now? And I'm like, well, I don't know. And so then I start talking, and we have the conversation went from inside to outside. We were smoking, we were sipping. And I started crying. And I'm like, damn, I didn't know that I needed to get this out, because I am that person, because I'm always positive, like positivity, joking, humor. It's who I am, but it's also a defense mechanism to process, right? And so I spent so much time putting all the ugly stuff to the side about how I felt about this in my life, that when we sat down and talked and she was making me look at it, I was like, wow, I really needed to get that out.
Right. And we could still do it in a way that, which is what makes that nobody else could sing these songs, is because only you cope this way, in this particular way. Like, I can't write these funny, kind of jokey type of things for other artists, because it's your personality that makes the song just so you and your experience and your way of dealing with the hard shit. So,
What time period was this when you guys sat down, y'all talked? Like, what month, what year, where are we at?
So we was in Atlanta at Tyler's.
Yeah.
And we were, I was filming the Boots Riley movie, I Love Boosters. And what month was that? Oh my gosh.
It would have been
We wrote the album really fast, though.
very fast.
What fast? What time? What you mean fast?
So we got
4
to
songs in Atlanta.
Yeah.
4 songs in LA.
Yeah, and it was like a span of 3 or 4 days. Like, total, she was filming at the same
Shout out
time.
to
Cam, you know, like coming in and just being like, okay, I brought my studio set up with me, got all the stuff. Literally was like, okay, we're gonna set up in the house. We'll film, we'll record after you're done filming. And she just knocked it out. But it was literally, I would say, like a week total of just being like, let's go.
So you are filming a movie,
Yeah.
and making the album. That's all you. It's all it seems like you've ever done. It's just work. When does Keke get to be Keke? Like even with going through everything with the breakup and all of that, and then you had just had your baby. People don't stop to think like this girl just had a whole nother person, right? And then they take everything from you. It was your first time. You know what I mean? Every pregnancy is different, but it's your first time, and it's like.
Yes.
You know, you got postpartum, you know, and, you know, you want to make sure that you're doing everything right for this baby. And then you got this breakup, then you got the work, and then you got your fans, and then you're still trying to protect this man because you were still trying to protect him after, like, that tweet, after the whole big blow up. Because you didn't say nothing for a while.
Yeah.
Right?
And really, I didn't say anything because it wasn't even trying to protect him, because a lot of people would say, maybe you should have, because Twitter was ripping him to shreds. So a lot of people are like, why is she not, saying something to jump in? And it's because that's not the relationship I had with my audience. It's not the relationship I ever wanted to have. I feel like I take it so seriously. You know, when I came up into the game, my parents would speak to me about Ruby Dee, Ozzie Davis, Muhammad Ali. They were like, your platform, especially as a black woman, a black person, it's something you should wear with pride. When you come into the table, it needs to be something that our people can be proud of.
Right.
So, like, I wanted all that to be in the back. So when everything was coming out, I was like, I don't want to say this because this is not what I want to bring to the public. But then it became so much that, it was just my life. So when I did the album, it was not addressing, protecting, it was just kind of like this, I've got to tell my story. But I wasn't happy with any of those things. I don't condone any of the things that people saw. I hate that they had to see any of that because that's not what the imagery I want. This is your girl Akila. But at the end of the day, that's why I had to move the way I had to. That's why I had to call the lawyers, handle it.
Exactly.
Because this isn't correct, and that's important to me. But I did it the way that I felt it should have been handled, in the courts, in private.
Yeah.
So when the public thing happened, that ain't me. That ain't my tea. That ain't my judge. You're going to learn more about me through the work that I do, and the things that I think are worth bringing to you. My life troubles, a relationship, I felt like that was petty.
Yeah.
That's how I felt.
Now, you talked about healing through this album, right?
Yes.
Why was this album healing to you? And did you see outside healing as well?
So what do you mean by outside healing?
Therapy.
Oh, yes. So I've been in therapy since I was like 17. Not consistently, but I started the therapy thing and like knowing that was a normal thing to do at about age 17. So I love therapy. I was in therapy before, after, whatever. Why the album was healing for me was because, again, we talk about the inciting incident of the Usher concert, but the inciting incidents of love changed me and made me start seeing myself differently because it shows you who you are. The closer you get to people in relation, you start to see sides of yourself that you maybe have forgotten.
Right.
Yeah.
So there was a level of fragmentation from just growing up in the show business that I hadn't addressed either. I got piles of shit in the corner, that I hadn't dealt with. So all of it brought me back to me. And that's why I think it was ultimately healing, because it was healing that Keke that used performance as a way to bring joy to her family that grew up in poverty. It was healing that girl that realized that the world doesn't really see me for who I am, but I'm going to keep performing anyway till I can buy my way to my own stage and be able to tell my full story on my own time. That's who it healed. It started the process of integrating not just Keke Palmer, the persona, but Loren Palmer, the dramaturg, the person who's been the awareness behind, it's your, and the gag, the real person. That's who it brought me back to being at the forefront of.
What
That's
about?
why I was asking, oh my bad.
Okay. I was going to ask you, because you talked about like things coming out and people seeing things. I remember there was the images of you guys getting into the physical altercation and you got the restraining order.
Yeah.
And that was so different than what we were used to having to talk about when it came to you, and people were really upset. What was your first thought in your mind when the images came online, and then the audios with your mom and his family going back and forth? Like, what was Keke behind the gag is thinking?
I hate that people had to see that. That's not what I want people to see. I wasn't even thinking about me. I mean, because I already knew it happened. It was, oh no, this isn't what I want people to see. But then on the other hand, I was like, obviously I don't condone this, and that's why I had to move. That's what I say. I had to call the lawyers. I had to handle. I had to move the way I needed to move, because that's not that's not cool to me. But just the fact that people had to see it, I hated it for my fans, for the people that cared about me. I don't believe in stressing folks out and giving them drama and all that type of stuff. So for me, it got out because I took it to the court, and people give information. Some of those things as a public figure you really can't control. Right. But I always know I'm going to handle it.
What did your father say during that time when all that came out? Because I know he's a deacon.
Lord.
Yeah.
But sometimes deacon going to say, look, God, I can't pray today. I'm going to put hands on somebody.
Mama Sharon was going off in the
what did
audio.
Larry say?
I mean, he was right there.
Deacon.
Yeah, he was right. Larry was right there with Sharon, the same vibes. I mean, what you heard on that phone, my parents are going to defend to the nth, and they're going to correct things. My parents are loving and forgiving people. Obviously, we know that that's my son's father. So if there's a way to move forward, we will move forward. But there's a particular way that you got to move forward.
Exactly.
And you need to know what those lines are.
Exactly.
And again,
it's a boundary.
It's a boundary.
And
you know what I'm
boom,
saying?
Boom, boom.
Yeah.
Yes, best friend. I know that's right. She said, I'm not just a writer.
Yeah,
No.
no, because I don't
advocate
play
for my
by my
best friend.
friend.
I mean, she
I'm
was
like,
there when
look,
Leo was born. She set up
Exactly.
his bassinet.
Yeah.
She was there, so she knows.
How did your parents feel? And I think we saw some of this kind of play out, but like when they tried to when your child's father came out in response to what we had saw the video or the images or whatever, and they tried to make it seem like, well, she's adding to the drama, she's causing things to happen. How did you
Talk
feel?
about Sharon. Talk about they were saying my mom or saying me.
You both. Well, they tried to pin it on your mom first, and then there was things that came out where he tried to make it seem like, well, you also, I think he tried to allege that you also get physical or get aggressive in the relationship as well too.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it was a bunch of that out there. You asking what I felt about it?
Yeah. How did you feel when that happened?
Damn, this is crazy. I was just thinking, man, this is so ugly and this is so unfortunate that this is coming to the public. I just believe in keeping certain things private. You know, if I don't care what I'm dealing with, I'm really not going to bring it to anybody unless it's the close ones to me and people that I know can handle it, because it's not anybody else's responsibility. So I just thought that's unfortunate. That was my main thing. That's all I could be thinking about. And as far as people thought about my mom was doing what she thought was best. She was defending her daughter. I mean, I would do whatever I had to do. You know what I mean? Defend my child. So the whole time, all I thought was, I'm silent because I really don't know. Why would I go online and say something to, I didn't get what I was supposed to do. So I was just kind of quiet and gagged and just like, oh, can't wait till this is over.
And I think so many other people got to tell what their interpretation of what happened is and their opinion of all of these other things. And so for you to just be able to be silent until you actually had a moment to write it out, really comprehend it, that's the best thing that you could have done for the situation.
Girl. You know what? Mamas don't play, because, what your mama did, Tina knows do. When she felt like people, she getting tired of hearing, misconceptions about her baby, she be up in them. She don't play about it. So your mom was just doing what any mother would do. It. Yeah.
I mean, back in the day, my mom used to run all my social media. And this is like back in the day, like when people didn't know what trolls was and stuff like that. She ran my Twitter up until I was like 17 or whatever.
I would love to see those messages.
I know.
No,
album.
One time I was on, somebody was like, yo, you got a lot of followers on your public page. Because I used to only have private pages. Like everything would be separate for me. Private page, public page, everything. And so I was like, what do you mean? So I go on the page and I see, you the bitch. And I was like, Sharon, I was like, Mom, you can't do. She was like, but they were talking about my daughter. And I was like, Sharon, they think she was literally cussing them clean out. And I'm like, Mom, they think that's me. You can't say that. So then that was the day I took over my sites because I'm like, now Sharon, this done gone too far.
Mom, enough,
I
Mom.
love your mom.
She was
Right.
cussing
My
somebody
mom would have
out.
posted a video.
Yo,
Period.
No, seriously. And so yeah, you know, that's gonna be Sharon, and I love her for it. She's protected me viciously through this industry. I
Yes,
feel like I am who I am because of it.
Now you said the music industry is soulless.
Man, it definitely can be.
Why do you think that is? And is that the reason you decided to do the independent way?
So I think any corporation can be sold. Anywhere that a lot of money is being made, it could be soulless, right? And I feel that way. People always say it about Hollywood, and it's like, oh, you know, Illuminati. It's like, well, have you heard of politics? Like, it can get dark anywhere. But I think from my experience, the reason why I feel like music was very soulless to me, because you could say acting can be as well, but my personal experience is just, it's not a character. It's you. You know, I remember when I got signed to Atlantic Records when I was 12 years old, and they had me going to the court, and they were like, do you know you're going to be signed to Atlantic Records? Yes, I know, and I understand. You don't know what it means. And you don't understand that you've become a product. And again, when it's your music, it's different than a character because it's you that they're monetizing. It's you that they are creating things on the back of. So when you are then told that it didn't work and we're done with you or we're no longer supporting you, it's hard not to take that personal.
Right.
And then we can get into the weeds of what it means when people own your music. These are your stories of your life that you have no control over, the narrative of where they go. It becomes soulless because there's no ownership there. But it's you and someone else owns it. Obviously, people have talked about it for years. It's not a unique concept. I mean, it's so much so that Prince changed himself into a symbol. Y'all done took my damn name. Now I'm just, you know what I mean? It's a product. Again, so much of Just Keke shows that. You know what I'm saying? Where I talk about that transition from me not believing that I have to solely exist as a product, that I'm not going to be just a tap dancer and no, I'm going to be the puppet master, not just the puppet. I'm pulling my own strings. But it's very easy for that to all get warped when you're just trying to make your dreams come true.
Right.
And you have people in this game that have been doing it for years and they know how to do it better than you. And they don't care. There's no emotion attached like it is for you and your music and your art. But this is in every industry. I mean, there's artists, painters that don't own their pieces. So it's just... It's these industries. I think that's also why I believe in diversifying so much. Why I believe in ownership, and why I believe in diversifying because you can't put your eggs in one basket or one industry, one corporation. That's how you pigeonhole yourself and how you stop yourself from being able to really do any and everything you want to do. It was me doing acting, hosting, and everything in between as a social media content creator that even allows me to create something like Just Keke, where I'm able to spend my own money because I made it. You know, so it's a lot.
Yeah. Now I want to go back to the album. Act 3, right? Act 3. Now, in visual, you know, you're in military gear, right? And it's like, I want to know it. Like, is that like a segue, like of y'all, you and Darius, y'all like reconciling where y'all are getting back together?
I think it's definitely a reconciliation of things will never be the same again. You know, there's a quote that comes up in the visual where it says, how do you mourn a love that will never die, yet and still can never be the same again? And then that's when we go into, like you said, unless it's you, and it's like the military stuff. And so it's definitely an homage because obviously he's in the military, you know, and I respect him doing that and want to make sure that he has something to offer our son. You know, obviously he did many jobs before, but this is a career. You know what I mean? Come with benefits. And I think, you know, having a child come with benefits. You know, and he was thinking about our son. So it's like definitely a, you know, shout out to that.
Yeah.
But also I loved just being able to timestamp the love that brought my son in. I think it's so important when things don't go right or you have baby mama, baby daddy drama. At the end of the day, there was a love that created this child. And when my son watches this, I want him to know that was how deep it was. And that might have been, I remember when Taylor played that for me, I literally cried because I was like, you know, I perform a lot of things in my life. I perform joy, I perform hardship, I can perform really anything, but I've never felt comfortable performing love. It's much too sacred to me because it's not a performance. It's true. It's real. And that was real. I mean, everything on this album is real, but that's me showing the world something sacred and real that I would never show.
Very, very vulnerable. It's not giving the gag is. It's not giving any of those things. It's giving, wow, I, the human, I have fallen for somebody. And that's very different than any accolade or anything that you've like achieved. That's why I think that it's the most vulnerable like album.
But how did you get to that point? Like, because she's
out.
very vulnerable.
Pulling it out.
But not only that, she talks about her sexuality. She talks about things that most people have been hiding behind. So what gave you to say, you know what, I don't care. I'm just going to take it all off and let you see me. What got you to that?
Because I was exposed.
Yeah.
There we go.
The one thing I never wanted to be, the inciting incident. Exposed when the lyrics like you're showing the things that I don't even like about myself.
Exactly.
How dare you? When you're exposed at that point, well, now I'm damn sure not going to let you tell my own story for me.
Now we got to.
So now that it's out there, it gives me another reason to create something that I never would have created before because I've evolved and I've changed from this. And now I have something new to say. Art is all about having something to say. You perform because you got something to say.
Yeah.
I never had a reason to say that till now.
You never perform love, but you never perform hurt either. That's another thing. We always see Keke like, other than the gag is just putting smiles on people's faces. She'll make you laugh even if you don't want to laugh.
Yeah.
She make you laugh. She pull it out of you and things like that. Like, now that you are, and you probably don't even look at it as like, oh, I'm performing hurt, but this is you didn't just make this for you. This is really good, and I thank you for it as well, because it's so many women that has gone through this, that's going through this, and it's not gonna stop. You know what I mean? So this is that's why when he asked you like, is this like the Keisha Cole or the Mary J. Blige? I think it's this for this reason, because now we see another layer of Keke that we can resonate with.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
You've been in showbiz since you were damn near a baby.
Yeah.
So that's why I asked you in the beginning, when can you be Loren? Like, not Keke, when can you be Loren and you just in your room and you just like take everything off, because you are a very performative person and you do it well.
Oh my God, thank you.
But like, when can you just be you without the industry at all? Like acting, all that, singing.
When I'm with my family.
Yeah.
When I'm with my family, and Taylor because we grew up together. When I'm with my family, sometimes I'm not even the funniest person in the room. My family is a bunch of characters. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of times I'm performing them. What you see, I'm performing my love for my culture, my lineage, blackness. I'm giving that to the world. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what all I saw growing up. I have a great sense of pride coming from Chicago. Like, come on now.
Yeah.
But when I'm at home, a lot of times I'm very serious. Like I'm sure as a comedian, a lot of the jokes come from serious,
and
tough stuff. So I could be a very serious person. I could be very quiet, and I'm in my head a lot. And I think and I care. I have deep emotions. So yeah, when I'm at home with my family, the people that have kept me grounded are the people that allow me to be me. And I don't have to make them laugh. I don't have to do nothing. I could just sit there and chill. I was on Father's Day with my dad. We were all at the house. I'm in the pool with my son. We laughing, we drinking, we talking, we playing the Wii golf. And that's just us. It's nothing really spectacular. I don't really live a famous life, but it's the industry I work in.
I want to ask you about well, first of all, there's skits on the album that there's different shows that you emulate. So you have Moesha, then it's Living Single, the Keke and the B. I thought that was cute as well too. So I guess creatively, the decision to drop those little hints in there, like what are those shows? Like what do those shows mean to you that you want to put them on this album where you're telling your side of the story?
Well, Brandy, obviously, I love. Everybody that knows me knows that she's one of my greatest inspirations. But also she's a pop icon, a black pop icon. Same thing with Whitney Houston. We reference her visually in Exposed. And I think I relate to them because they were also women in the industry that, again, big entertainers that you get flattened. And that's big because as a black woman, we're so new. I mean, as women, as people in general, but obviously us culturally, there's so much nuance that doesn't always make it through.
Right.
And I feel like that's also why I wanted to reference them, because I feel like they're kindred spirits in that way, where we've been put on this platform and standing up here to be this thing. And once one thing goes wrong or things don't go as people plan, then it's like all of a sudden we're not who we said we are. But it's just because you're multifaceted. And so I think that's why, I wanted to show homage, reference them. Also the reflective nature of Moesha. A lot of this album is reflective. So the journaling, Brandy gave me my first journal ever. when I was 12.
Oh.
And then a lot of the other references were just devices to get into the story, right? Like when we start out as you at the Just Keke show, that's kind of like the Amanda Bynes show,
right?
You know, which I loved growing up. She was doing a bunch of different characters, Moody's Point, and so we play along with that as well, and it kind of gets us through the different vignettes where we're telling the story of the theme of the whole thing of the album.
When you play into and Living Single, the next song is I Wanna Know.
That's the song I thought y'all was gonna bring up.
Oh, no, we right now. Go ahead.
So did Darius step outside? Like, did he cheat on you? Because this song is about you finding out about another girl.
Yeah, you know, a lot of people thought that I'm saying that he cheated. I'm actually saying this is what I was thinking when it was over.
Oh, okay, yeah, because so you're envisioning, because it's over. Y'all are going through what y'all going through, but you still have that love, and you don't want to see him with anybody else. So,
exactly, it's about the emotion you have when a relationship is done, and you like, damn.
I don't want nobody else to have, you know. Wait a minute.
So what are y'all doing exactly?
Exactly.
And that's a feeling and an emotion that that's like some stuff you don't want nobody to ever know that you're thinking about. And so when that actually one song is done by Rico Love, when I first recorded that one, I was like, there's no way, you know, this is the cringiest shit ever. But then also I was like, well, that's why I got to put it on there, because it's how I've felt, you know, and I know so many people have felt that way. It's over, but you just like, so are you kissing her to say, you know, what's happening? And so, yeah, it's a real emotion. It's a real feeling. And also it showcases just the confusion that happens when you know you want to move on from something, but the love is still.
Right.
Nah, that's real. Do you still feel that way, though? Like, if he brings somebody home, she better not look better than me. She better not
how
make...
could that be?
Exactly. I'm like, she ain't.
Sorry to that girl.
Exactly.
Now, I also got to ask, when you were going through that part, how many people were in your DMs at the time?
Oh my gosh, everybody named Mama.
Well, everybody ain't father.
Okay. Fathers are there.
Yeah.
Fathers are there.
Yeah.
Did it help you with your, and not that you need it, but like sometimes having that self-worth, like, damn, my shit is popping here. You see all that? Like, did you have that feeling?
Honestly, did I have that feeling? No, because when you feel that in the dumps kind of thing, especially after just having my son, I was just kind of like, I'm gonna go right into work. You know what I mean? And I was trying to have fun and get up out there and do my thing and stuff, but it doesn't feel. I mean, and it probably was also the postpartum and just I was just thinking about my son. You know, I was kind of just like, I gotta keep myself right. Mainly, you know, obviously why the living single thing is like, it really was me and my girls. They really held me up. They were the ones that were making sure we go out, we have a good time, even if it's just us dinners, you know, sitting up in the house, me and my sister watching movies. We love binging movies all day. Like, that was really what helped me, you know what I mean, through that time the most.
Gotcha.
Were you there's a song on the album Anonymous.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so is that, because you talking about, so once you get through that point where it's like, okay, it's me and my girl, did you start dating again? Because Anonymous gave me that you had started dating again, but this was somebody that you wanted to keep to yourself because of everything that was happening.
So Anonymous is actually a song dedicated to the love we built.
Oh,
so it come, you know,
you're talking to owe him.
Exactly.
Wow.
So it's like off script, and then we go to 120, you know, it says Juneteenth, 2021, because that's when we met. And then it goes to 125, and it's like 125 is like, you know, when I met you, you know, it was just supposed to be you coming to the hotel. Next thing you know, I'm falling in love, and now it's 125 degrees. But
he was supposed to be a sneaky link.
Okay, he was my sneaky link, and he turned into my man.
That's how it be.
And so it goes from there to Anonymous. That's how it be, girl. And then it goes to Anonymous, and Anonymous is like, this is how you made me feel.
Got you.
And that's kind of what I was talking to you guys earlier about, where it's like, I forgot that girl that didn't have to perform, that didn't have to do those things, because when we fell in love, and when I met him, that's how it was. He just I didn't feel that. And I felt the same way I felt with my family.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, you don't need all that. You cool with just
Loren.
Exactly. So that's where the Anonymous came from, because it's like, you make me feel anonymous. You know, like I don't have to be who the world knows me to be.
When you were talking about the confusion that we feel kind of in the music, where you're trying to figure it out and you're like, is he with another person or is he not yet? Is that what we were seeing in real time? Because I know y'all hung out for your birthday, and and everybody was like, wait, what? Hold on. They hanging out. Like, was that confusion in real life? Y'all were trying to figure it out but just couldn't? Like, what was that time period? Because we were confused.
Yeah, trying to figure it out. Like, okay, how do we... Because it's never going to be the same again. So what? But it's got to be something. You know, if it's never talking again, or if it's being cool, are we showing them at the school? Hey, y'all. Yeah. You know, like, what is our new language? Now with these boundaries, you know, we now, you know how I'm coming. I know how you coming. So is it a stalemate, or are we gonna figure out how to find some way in between? So that was like the beginning of that process, and and it's still a process.
I wasn't confused because I know I know how it is. My son, for a while, I was like, I'm gonna get back with you. And it's like, nah, but I don't know. But in public, like, I do want my family. But then it's like, you fucking try me. So then it ended up, so I definitely understood what that was like.
I'm sure that's gonna be ever evolving as Leo gets older. Then it'll need to look new for
I love
everywhere.
in the beginning of Exposed, because when we were filming that, you was talking, you was like, I ain't gonna. Oh no, in the beginning of Confessions, like I ain't gonna get too crazy because I know I'm gonna be seeing you for a long time.
Exactly. You gotta watch it. When your friends come and it's like, I gotta tell you some shit. I'm like, all right, is this gonna be some shit to make me have to get a little bit crazy right now? But. Okay, I'm gonna be seeing you for a while.
Exactly.
So
Taylor's like, I got part 2, part 3, and part 4.
I'm like,
Taylor's
don't
keep coming. I got all these.
And I'll say this too. The other big thing about it for me too, coming from the family that I come from, was like, I really don't want this to be bad like that, because you're my son's dad, and I'm such a strong believer that we don't have to be together for us to be great parents.
Yeah.
And also, like, he needs to be proud of the both of us. So you also want to make sure, like, let's if we're gonna play a role, let's play the right role for the baby, so that he can say, yeah, those are my parents, and they handled it, and they did what they had to do, whatever that was going on, and how they had to. At the end of the day, when they showed up, they wasn't fighting at the event. Yeah, they wasn't cussing each other. They had their head high. They knew how to act. And they knew how to represent me.
Exactly.
So it was also me on that, trying to be like, let's represent the baby, because he's the real man.
Like you said, this ain't no Love and Hip Hop.
Yeah, I mean, like, we could do better than that.
Now, are you dating? Now, are you trying, or do you have time? How did you have time for Darius? No. but are you dating now?
I'm open. I'm open to, the vibes, how's everybody doing? I'm outside, you know what I'm saying? I'm busy, so you do need to know that, but I'm here for a good time and a good vibes. Your girl is, hey, she's cute. Popular to boot.
That's what I'm saying.
I know what side of Keke you get.
That's why I'm like,
I don't know what side. Like, sometimes you don't know if Keke
playing.
No, I think
and that's what I be saying. I don't never know neither.
Now let's get into one of them days, child. Good.
So are you going to give us a cameo in one of them days too?
I sure will.
Come on.
I absolutely will. I love the first one, you and SZA, man. Y'all some clowns in the movie. But how was that, shooting that? Shout out to Issa Rae.
Shout out to Issa Rae. It was really hard, actually, because we shot it in 22 days. That's not, that's not, y'all, that was like crazy.
Yeah.
And so it was very tough in terms of like that, but it was so much fun working with SZA. Me and her don't have no idea why we meshed like that. It was just like immediate.
She seems like that girl though.
She's very much that girl in the neighborhood that's just so cute and cool. And you're like, girl, what's up with you? And she always got something she done made on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, where you get that from, girl? I got it from Target. I sliced it up in half and put it with something from Fashion Nova. Okay. And so she has such a lovable energy. Also, it explains why her music is the way it is. Vulnerability is her superpower. She will sit there and be like, and she's like, but I'm good though. And it's like, yeah, you are good though. So I loved being around that, just to see that as a form of strength, because I have vulnerabilities, right? But I mean, I think she takes it to a different level of her honesty, and I think obviously her music reflects that. So that was
y'all weren't like super close or friends before that.
Well, I was always a fan. Yeah. I remember I danced to Broken Clocks. Many years ago when Control had come out, and she DM'd me and she was like, hey, I love you. I've always been a fan of yours. I was like, man, I'm a fan of yours. She was like, we got to link up at some point. But we just never did. And we would actually text randomly and be like, hey, boo, I love what you did. But we never really actually got time. The first time that we really met was at the first chemistry test for one of them days. That's crazy. I mean, for her to have never acted before, it was just like she was so ready. Yeah. And I think that's why it worked.
Even more than that, it was the chemistry. That's why I was like, did y'all know each other?
Now, we did have one night in Atlanta when it was actually around the same time. Was I filming? I think I was filming The Pickup. That was actually coming out in August with Eddie and Pete. So we were doing another chemistry read.
Hold on, wait, hold on. Eddie and Pete. Eddie Murphy and Pete Davidson.
Just that little movie.
Can you tell us the full names? We don't know them like that.
Jesus.
Oh my gosh, yeah, Eddie Murphy and Pete Davidson. That movie, I'm very excited about that. Coming out on Amazon. We were filming that and we did the chemistry test, but I was like, yo, if you down, you know what I'm saying? Like, come back to the crib, let's kick it, let's hang out. And she was like, yeah, I'm ready. Like, let's go. So we was hanging at the house, drinking, chilling, vibing, having a real good time. She was like, man, we should go to Magic City. I was like, let's go. Man, when I tell you, right when we got outside, I was like, I got the dizzies, bitch.
You got the what?
The dizzy.
No, I wanted her to say it again.
She's like, I just want to hear it one more time. When I tell you guys, I was like, girl, I can't do it. And she was like, I thought you just didn't want to come in. I thought I was just moving too fast for you and doing too much. I'm like, no, girl, I love the strip club. I just couldn't make it in. But in the following week, I got my way up in there with Kevin. We was like, hey, shout out to Kevin.
So I think you should put her in the next one. She could be the ghetto chick that you fight.
OMG. Come on, Bernice. Big Booty Bernice. Cousin.
And then she runs into the car just like the same identical thing.
Period. Thank you, Andrew.
Yes.
Because now I want to see myself do that.
See?
So now
You
we got
have
Keke,
to. We've said it now. Issa's gonna say. By the way, Issa be on the net.
Okay.
She gonna see this and she gonna be like, hey, what up, Jess?
Okay.
Let's do it.
Because I love Issa. I love the movie. I love your character. I love SZA in it. It was dope, man.
I appreciate
and congratulations on the movie with Eddie Murphy. How was it?
I loved working with Eddie. First of all, I was just really watching him. I'm a very observant person, especially if I'm going to be on the set with somebody like him. I'm literally lips tight and I'm watching. And what I think working on that project right before one of them days helped me a lot in terms of just situational comedy. And my mom used to always say that when she was training me coming up, like, comedy stems from reality. So just play the truth of the scene and it'll be funny because it is what it is. And that's Eddie. He can be in any situation. He's always going to just be real and be true. And that's what makes us laugh. And so watching it up close and seeing how he made his improvisational choices, that really just gave me, I feel like, a leg up coming into one of them days and knowing how to really, half of the movie we was just ad-libbing. Me and her was just improv the whole damn moment,
Yeah.
Do you ever feel the pressure of being like the girl, the go-to girl? Like even with one of them days in the sequel being announced, people had this whole charge of like, because of this and how well it did in the box office, we need more Black women-led buddy comedies, right? And it's like Keke Palmer and SZA did that, but like people refer to you so much as like leading the charge for Black women in the mainstream. Is there like a pressure there because of that?
I think I wouldn't say a pressure, but there is like a seriousness that I take with it of like, okay, well, what is the projects that I'm going to do? And also when is it going to be a break? Because that won't be that way forever. And I've gone through moments of that. Like when I was a little kid, it was like that. It was like Akeelah and the Bee, Medea's Family Reunion, True Jackson VP. And then when I got 17, 18, like, she's a has-been. Get her out of here. And then I was like, oh shit, I got to figure out how to, oh damn, they tired of me. I got to revamp. So, it happens in seasons. So it's like, yeah, we're in that season where it's a renaissance. And I'm living for that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to keep doing everything I can do. But also I take a look in a page out of people like Tyler Perry's book, where it pertains to like, okay, what else can I do for others?
Yeah.
How can I build an infrastructure where I ain't got to be Mickey Mouse all the time? Because it's like, also, I don't want to be Mickey Mouse all the time, and sometimes you want to see a Pixar movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I think for me, I'm really focused also on that stage, like with Key TV Network. It's a network that I created alongside my best friend, Lenora Addison. But it's a network in the sense where we fund and help others create their stuff financially, but also a network in the sense where we bring other creatives together to teach them and educate them on how to build their brands. Because that's something that I know from the ground up.
Gotcha.
Like I said, after traditional turned its back on me, I went to socials, and that's how I rebuilt my entire career. So just want to also create a system where we can encourage the next generation, you know what I'm saying? Where we can find that next Keke Palmer.
When are we getting Keke Palmer doing the Angela Bassett biopic? When are we getting that?
Well,
And
I
ain't
just seen
playing.
a thing where Angela Bassett was like, I would love Keke to do my biopic.
Boom.
So I think we're closer than we
Come
think.
on.
guys.
Okay.
Come on.
I would live
love to
to
see it.
do that myself. And I love Angela Bassett. She is the icon. Like, I live for her. And I love that people want that for me.
I really do want it. I've been seeing it. I've been saw it. I said, man, she more
Gonna be
Angela than
so
Angela.
far,
is.
right.
Crazy.
Somebody said that online. They was like, why does Keke Palmer look more like Angela Bassett's daughter than Angela Bassett's daughter? I'm like, y'all crazy on here.
This is my last thing. Okay. So me and my daughter, this ain't even a question. My daughter's favorite, because I know your voice, my daughter's favorite episode, Bubba Guppies, you play Molly. Molly.
Yeah, I was on
And
there.
so when I say to my baby, fashionista or old school jeans star, yo, she go crazy. Everybody's got one, girl.
Oh my gosh.
You are just everything.
Live for the kids.
Bubba Guppies, this girl, it is nothing that she hasn't done, and it's amazing to. Does Leo just watch Bubba Guppies?
Yeah, well, Leo watches Cars. He loves Nemo. He loves Finding Nemo. What else do Leo be watching? Oh no, on the album he be like, he was trying to rap. He be like, T-Boo. T-Boo. I'm like, son, really?
When I first heard it this morning, what you told me it was?
I thought she was saying Timu.
Yeah,
and I was
Timu.
like, I said, okay,
Timu,
that's
this is for the
what-
girls.
Yeah,
I said,
Keke-
I said, they're going to eat this stuff in the
Keke is
club.
getting this
So I was
check
sipping with
from
my pinky finger
Timu.
way up high. See somebody staring at the left of my eye. He's some kind of cancer, my baby dad, but not at the time. This was 09. I love y'all.
Man.
And it's been so long. I'm so glad to come back and just, mess with y'all.
Absolutely.
One more before you get out of here.
Oh, yeah.
You know when Loren says one more, there's
Lord,
this-
Jesus,
no,
don't
no,
ask
I-
about no
no.
lawyers. Don't ask about
No.
nothing in court.
It's not in court. It's not in
Okay.
court. But I know it's Keke Palmer. You
Yes.
make all of your creative decisions, right?
Yes.
I love that for you. And I love the ownership that you have.
Thank you.
The people are still wondering why the Jonathan Majors episode did not happen.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was, obviously Megan's my girl.
Mm-hmm.
I've grown up loving her. She's honestly a mentor, to me, and representation for all of us young Black women. I mean, I was happy for her to get married. I was excited to have the conversation. I think this is the thing, too. With me as a public figure and entertainer, when I'm doing my hosting, I'm here to be, y'all know, I'm here to be unbiased. Everybody that's sitting in your chair, you don't agree with everything they did, you don't love everything, but you gotta have the conversation.
Exactly.
You have to set the stage for them to speak and for people to watch and take what they want to take from it. So that's why I was open and excited to do the interview.
Yeah.
But I think ultimately with my partners, it was just decided based off of, I guess, the reaction that people felt it was insensitive,
Oh, they was
that
upset.
maybe we shouldn't put it out. I mean, it's always there, I imagine, if people wanted to see it, but I always want to be respectful and understand where everybody's coming from. And, if they're not going to feel like they're going to receive anything good from the interview, then okay, cool. But, I sat down with the brother for us to talk and let him be heard. I mean, people sit down with serial killers. I'm not comparing him to a serial killer. But I'm saying, shit, if we can sit down with Dahmer them, why can't I sit down with dude and you know what I mean?
That's the headlines.
Yeah.
Keke Palmer compares Jonathan Majors to a
Literally,
serial killer.
literally, that's what they, you know what I mean? So it's like, But at the end of the day, I just felt like as a journalist, I'm supposed to talk and we're supposed to hear and let the public decide how they want to feel. But that didn't get a chance to happen. And, I wish them all the best. I really want to say that because I don't judge nobody because I don't want to be judged.
Right.
No, hey. So at the end of the day, I'm happy for Megan. I'm happy for them. And, maybe one day we get a chance to put it out. I'm not sure. But.
It's been amazing to see you navigate though, because you do get it hard because you're Keke Palmer and then you're trying to be in that neutral space. And I know it's tough being in. Girl, they be eating me up.
But it's like y'all want me to ask it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Like
so
they,
I
you
can't
know what I'm
imagine.
saying? They want you. I'm trying to see what y'all want.
Yeah.
What
Serve
you
y'all,
want from?
and
What
you're
more
damned
do
if
you
you do.
want from me?
Yeah.
He ate that. Remember when they turned it into a beat? What more do you want from me? Me. That shit ate.
Yo, everything about Keke is so like
oh my God, that's
viral
what
in the
I'm
clubs.
saying.
We can
and
vent,
before
we
you
can
get out
vote,
of
we
here,
can dance.
you got this doll.
Come
Yes.
on.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Just
Let's talk
Keke
about
doll.
this doll.
Let's talk about this doll. This doll. So when we came up with the album, obviously Just Keke, it centers around this show. That's what takes us through the album. The vignettes are kind of similar to what you would imagine on a sketch show like Jimmy Fallon or the Amanda Show or SNL. But I remember when I was talking to Sam, I'm like, how do we do these teasers before? Because I want people to know the context that they're going to be entering the album from. Yeah. And I came up with this doll, and I was like, yeah, Just Keke, the product, the brand, the person you feel like but there's something else underneath. Something happens. There's a glitch that comes, and the glitch is obviously the inciting incident that publicly happened for me. And in the visual, we display that. And then when you enter the Just Keke world, it all starts to unravel, And so, yeah, this doll is pretty much me. She's like a representation of how I've always felt and walked through this industry as a product. But now I get to also exist as this. That's the product, not me anymore.
Now, all
She's on
these
your
for
cover,
sale.
cover too.
Okay, for sale. Her soul is not for sale.
Okay.
She want to know, can they buy it? Can people
know,
buy it?
but
Where can they buy
Did
it?
you say so?
No, what's
Look,
she
she
like
I
that.
didn't
Play all money, you never know.
Yes,
Exactly.
Because she
right
played
now,
too much.
right now, this is the prototype, but the dolls are on the way.
Okay.
Yeah, the dolls are on the way. So yeah, this is the first prototype of her. She could be a little darker. She could be a little darker. She's not exactly my tone, but she's on the way.
She's on the way. All right. Well, we appreciate you for joining us. The album is out today, Just Keke. And what you want to hear off the album? What's on?
Oh my gosh, you don't play off script. Let's turn them up this morning.
Yeah.
Off script.
Off script.
We'll get into that now. It's The Breakfast Club. It's Keke Palmer.
Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.